What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. Force here with some more StarCraft 2 commentary. Today we will be looking at a series between Liquid Ret and HuK. This is going to be a Protoss versus Zerg, HuK versus Ret. Starting off here on the map GSL Daybreak, let's get some tournament information. In the lower left-hand position, we have got our blue Zerg player, Liquid Ret. He recently took first place at the Red Bull LAN #1 in March of 2012. Also took third place at the IM Season 6 Global Challenge in Sao Paulo, and this was in February of 2012. His opponent over here in the upper right-hand position, our red Protoss player, one of the most loved Protoss players in StarCraft 2, EG's HuK, took first place at the 2011 MLG Orlando. This was in October of last year. He also took third place at the 2011 North American Battle.net Invitational in August of last year as well. That's a little bit of that recent information. Let's jump into the game. Overlord making its way across the map right now. As we can see down over here, HuK will be going Forge Fast Expand, going for that wall off in this direction as he makes a wall from the corner of this ramp right on over to where his Nexus is going to be. Now, it does actually appear like HuK will be going Nexus first, interestingly enough, as he does not have a probe down by this pylon to drop the Forge, which obviously, as you can see, he can clearly afford. A Forge cost 150 minerals, so that is something that he can clearly afford right now, but is going to hold off on that, save up those minerals, allowing him to drop the Nexus first. And it's actually going to be a little bit of a while before Ret scouts that out, as he's not setting out a scouting worker, just moving across the map with his Overlord. So we will see that Nexus go first here for HuK, and then we should be seeing that Forge in the gateway as well. And then as soon as that Forge finishes, that cannon will be coming on through. Ret has decided to go pool first, although he very well could have gone hatch first, given the fact that this probe did not move out early enough to get any harass down. He could still worry, of course, about cannon harass, but again, we saw with HuK going Nexus first, cannon harass really wouldn't have been in play. By that time, it wouldn't have been needed to be effective. But either way, I mean, Ret had no way of knowing that HuK was going to go Nexus first, and he didn't scout out for it, so there you have it, my friends. Spawning pool now up. We've got two lings coming on through. First Queen is also building at the moment. Hatchery at the natural, about halfway done. Those lings about to pop. We'll be able to engage that probe and force it out. HuK, it goes in far enough to scout the gas, realizes there's no extractor yet. Should be keeping an eye out for a third, and that's exactly what's happening as Ret moves down with his drone right now, preparing to drop that quick third base. So there you have it. Ret going with a very quick third in response to this Forge Fast Expand here from HuK. And obviously not a bad idea. You do have to be concerned about pushes. You will see a lot of pushes from this pathway here from a Protoss player off of two bases when the Zerg player does decide to go for that quick third base. So this is, of course, something that Ret has to be aware of and try to prepare for as much as possible. Ling moving forward. Oh, gets the double hit there from the cannon, and that's all the cannon needs to do to take out that one Zergling. That's unfortunate there that Ret wasn't able to respond in time. A lot of times you'll see the Zerg player poke in far enough, get that one hit from the cannon, and then pull back to survive, but did not happen for that poor Zergling. And now this Zergling is without a friend. In fact, now he's being chased by Zealots. What a terrible day for this Zergling. First his friend dies, and then this hulking beast chases him down. Terrible, terrible day. Zealot making its way across the map. People get map control right now, as Ret does not have enough lings in play to deny that. And this Zealot will also be used for scouting purposes. Let's take a look at its attack path here. Where's he set to go? Right over here, and then checking that tower. And then going to pull back to that tower. Very interesting, in fact. Ling, with that extra speed advantage, of course, will be able to stay ahead of the Zealot and scout where he's going and then just hop from tower to tower. And that's so funny because HuK's prepared to respond to that by pulling on over there. We do have that Stalker coming out, and he will be grabbing the second tower. Fortunately enough there for the Ling, he will be dropped by the Stalker. He cannot escape it without Metabolic Boost. Doesn't stand a chance there. And the Stalker gets that last shot off and gets the free kill. Level 1 weapon upgrade coming out here for HuK, also starting to work in his Warp Gate research. Back over here for our buddy Ret, we have got 12 lings coming through. Still no metabolic boost, very close to being able to afford that though. Should be seeing him jump right on that, and there we go. Still staying saturated. Hello, words. How you doing? Still staying saturated on both those extractors, so we could be seeing a layer very soon as well, unless he decides to go with something like a Baneling Nest or Roach Warren. Those are really the only few options that he has at this point. Moves forward, gets a full surround on the Zealot, almost a full surround. He is covered at one angle from that tower, but does end up getting dropped. Killed off a few Lings in the process. As you can see, they're both dead even right now in terms of resources lost. Scouting Overlord pulls in, checks pretty much nothing, as all the gateways are over here. 6, in fact, building, and there's number 7. That's going to put him on 8 gateways. We will be seeing an 8-gate push here from HuK. And this could be quite painful. This is exactly what's going to happen. HuK is going to attempt to push up into this angle, and no, I haven't seen this game before. This is just how it plays out. This is the vulnerable spot right now for Rhett, and this is where he's going to have the most difficulty defending, especially a push including sentries where you can catch a force field wall. And even though this is a relatively wide angle, certainly not as bad as the huge open spaces. So pushing on over here with your forces and being able to lay down some force fields are very effective. We are also seeing a Twilight Council here from HuK, so Blink Stalkers are most likely what we should be expecting to see here. Just keep an eye on that, unless he decides to go something crazy like throw some DT into the mix. Who knows? Lings catch a Stalker, almost able to kill it. HuK manages to make it back safely. Ling's going to start going to town here on these debris. Again, whenever a push is concerned, or, you know, eventually when Rhett decides to push up here, and I'm not saying it's going to be anytime soon, but when that time does eventually come, having this small entryway is the worst thing for him, because he can't get us around with his Lings, and force fields devastate him in that position. So he, even though it's a little bit of damage, he wants to start working this down now so that when the time does come, he can work it down a little bit quicker and not have to worry as much about those force fields and about not being able to get surrounds. Got a Ling scouting over here to see if HuK does decide to go for a third, and if he doesn't see that, then he does have to be concerned about a push. Now, I am pretty much expecting a push here because of the fact that we are seeing 8 gates plus Blink Stalkers coming through. He could, of course, decide to go into an expansion, but he is definitely geared up to prepare to push out. Ling's moving around, just getting their scouting intel. We have got a Roach Warren in. Roach is producing the Glal Reconstitution, which is that Roach speed coming on through, as well as the Burrow Research, Carpus upgrade, and level 1 missile attack. So a whole bunch of stuff going on over here for Rhett. Also have a Macro Hatch coming through. There are those upgrades coming out of the Evolution Chambers. Ling's continuing to dance around. He now knows about this building expansion, so he can respond accordingly. Those Roaches coming through right now for Rhett. What I almost called him Idra. That would make no sense whatsoever. HuK coming out with those level 2 weapon upgrades right now, and that Blink research is just about finished. And again, we know about this building nexus over here. One cannon and a bunch of pylons. 2 cannons. Why? What is wrong with my counting? 2 cannons and a few pylons there. That's just a little bit of static defense. Try to help him against any aggression he may be seeing from Rhett. Rhett is prepared to do that very thing. Also, look at this Tunneling Claw research. Now, he's got the Burrow Research. Tunneling Claws allows him to move while burrowed. This can be very effective, especially if your opponent doesn't have a lot of cloak detection, or just in general, it's pretty effective. Ling's moving forward over here, trying to do a bit of damage to the Stalkers. We got the Roaches over here, and this is going to be a lot of damage as HuK does not have quite enough forces over here to deal with this. Losing a few units, losing that 1 cannon. And there we go, reinforcements coming down from HuK. Keep in mind, he does have those Blink Stalkers, so we can use that micro. Looks like that won't be necessary, but without the cloak detection and dropping the cannons, goes to show you how effective this can be. Now, the Tunneling Claws aren't finished yet, but the burrowing with the Roaches does allow him to regenerate a lot of HP very quickly, and there's no observers in play right now for HuK, so he's just having to deal with that at the moment, as we are seeing this continuous aggression from Rhett, although Blink Stalker's trying to take out the Roaches, and he just burrows, gets back some health, and waits for reinforcements. I'm not sure, though, that Rhett is going to be able to break this. HuK is continuously warping in, and look at that Blink micro, trying to keep those Stalkers alive a little bit longer. We do have a lot of Roaches, though, streaming across the map, so this could be something that Rhett can continue to keep up, be very effective with. He does also have the level 2 missile attacks coming through. Finally, with an observer in play, HuK is able to catch those burrowed Roaches, do a bit of damage, and force them back. So finally getting out that 1 observer. Does he have a second one coming through? No, just the 1. He's content with that. We'll just keep that with his forces for now. Take a quick look at the resources lost. Rhett is behind. He threw so much at that engagement there, and not dropping the Nexus certainly didn't help him. You can see right now Rhett is moving into a 4th. Pretty much necessary at this point. We'll be breaking down these debris, allowing for easier pushes and reinforcements during future engagements, especially from these expansions. Both of these, if they are streaming across the map, it'd be quicker for them to cut right through that center path rather than having to walk their way down and around over here. But I don't know that Rhett is about to push again. I think he might just sit tight for a few moments, try to macro up. You can see we got a Spire coming on through here for Rhett. preparing for that air transition. Also the 2-2 upgrades, Carpus and missile attacks. I'm not sure if he has any melee upgrades yet. No, he doesn't. So just the Carpus and the ranged attack, the missile attack there. Blink Stalkers, few sentries, Zealots, and an Immortal. Moving out right now for HuK. Don't think he knows that this has been broken down yet, although he did just walk by the tower, so he should know that. Yeah, he does know that that's broken down. Interesting. Moving out right now, drops an Overlord. We got a few Roaches and Speedlings, and we'll be moving for a counterattack as HuK has a majority of his forces right now on Rhett's side of the map, and let's see what he's able to do with this. We got a few Warpins coming forward, and then burrowing under the force fields there, trying to get a little bit closer. I'm going to drop those cannons quicker, and yeah, now he can burrow again. A bit of effectiveness as the Observer is all the way across the map. A couple of spines getting placed down. This is going to get destroyed before they even come on through. These Roaches will get taken out here. Blink Stalkers pushing them back. HuK really hasn't done much damage over here with this yet, and so many Speedlings getting us around. Stalkers blink back. Speedlings are still within range, though. Roaches trying to push forward, and I think he should have this. Should be able to overwhelm HuK right now, and then with the reinforcement Roaches pulling back from the engagement over here, we'll be able to cut them off, force another blink a little bit sooner than HuK may want to. Force a blink soon. Never mind, reinforcements coming on forward for HuK. You see a little bit of a duel right here. Good old shoot-off. I don't even know what I'm saying. Roaches engaging the Stalkers. Roaches not standing a chance, though. There are a bit too many Stalkers here from HuK. HuK does have those 2 weapon upgrades. Right now, though, we are seeing Rhett as 2-2 as well, and no armor or shield upgrades here from HuK, with none coming through either. He's going straight for weapons level 3, and that's just about to finish, and now he's feeling confident to engage with that extra damage there from the weapon upgrade. Moving forward there with his Stalkers. He's trying to get us around with those Speedlings, but Rhett unable to do so as the Stalkers blink back. A few Stalkers from over here. There are a lot of Roaches, though, and he is going to force these Stalkers back. Still have the ones on the low ground. Rhett splitting up his forces, also coming forward with a few Infestors. And Rhett is prepared to counterattack right now. Greater Spire coming through, and that will, of course, be for Broodlords. A few more Infestors coming out, also working up the melee attack level 1. Lots of Blink Stalkers here. Misses a Fungal Growth, unfortunately. Rhett missing that Fungal Growth. That did not help him at all. He'll be forced to move all the way back with his Infestors as he has just lost every single Roach that he had committed to that engagement. Those reinforcement Blink Stalkers with that Weapon 3 level upgrade really tore through Rhett's units there. Let's take a look at what Rhett has going for him. Taking a quick look at army size. They are about even. Resources lost. Rhett 3,000 behind right now. I guess it's more like 2,000, but still. Rhett is behind at the moment. Looks like HuK is ready to take another expansion there in the center of the map. We got some Speedlings preparing for a counterattack over here. HuK getting ready to move on towards this upper left-hand expansion for Rhett. Here come the Speedlings. Counterattack moving right into the resource line, putting themselves on hold position to do as much damage as possible and not engage those cannons. That's the attempt anyways. And we're going to see HuK actually pull all the way back. He's really concerned about the damage this is going to do to him here. 9 workers killed so far, 10. Might get a few more before this ends. HuK will be pushing forward. Get the Infestors over here. Hopefully we see some Fungal Growth. There we go. Rhett finally grabbing his forces. Getting a couple Fungals now. We get those few Roaches. More Roaches coming on forward here. Speedling still doing a little bit of damage, although that's pretty much been taken care of. A couple more Fungal Growths over here as HuK prepares to try to split the forces, dropping those force field walls. Very effective, but he is about to get overwhelmed by the Roaches. HuK forced back right now. As Rhett able to consistently defend here. HuK, seemingly in a good position with his pushes. Rhett's been able to just eke out just enough units to defend, but we do have a strong engagement coming here from HuK. Now, do notice, of course, that HuK hasn't made a transition into that higher tech. We're not seeing Colossus here. We're not seeing High Templar, although High Templar aren't the greatest against Roaches, so I don't blame him for that. But Rhett just holding on here every engagement. Now, he's forced back a little bit, but HuK doesn't exactly have a ton right now. And it's not like there's any counter-aggression or anything coming on. So HuK is going to be forced back, forced to try to recharge those shields there. Still haven't seen this expansion dropped. I was expecting that, but HuK hasn't done it quite yet. Maybe a little bit concerned that he needs to spend what few resources he has on building up a force here. As Rhett does have a pretty significant army right now. 86 as opposed to the 47 supply here for HuK. HuK tries to drop the expansion. Almost gets his probe killed in the process as a scouting wing over there is able to do a bit of damage. We do have the Observer scouting out the forces of Rhett. I'm not sure that's making HuK any more comfortable, as this is actually quite imposing with those infestors, the roaches, and the speedlings. Is making that transition into the High Templar. Now again, Psionic Storm is definitely really good against those speedlings, but it isn't the greatest against the roaches. It just really isn't. There's not much to say about it other than that. Now we did have that Greater Spire coming through, but as you can see here, no Broodlords yet. Moving forward, oh, there's a fungal growth on the High Templar. That is a tremendous economic loss there for HuK. Psionic Storm wasn't even finished research. Those weren't Archons. Those were High Templar that did absolutely nothing. And they got dropped very quickly. And that is going to set HuK behind only a little bit, but that hurt. Most definitely did. More speedlings pulling forward with the roaches. And HuK will be losing all of his forces here in the center of the map, and it should force a cancel as well of that expansion. Psionic Storm finally finished. He warps in a few more High Templar, but realizes doesn't matter. He's about to be forced to cancel this expansion. Those High Templar are probably going to die to those roaches, even if they kill off a few of the speedlings. And that was enough to make HuK call GG. Game number 1 going to Rhett. Thank you guys so much for watching this game number 1 here between Rhett and HuK. We will be moving on to game number 2 in just a moment. That fungal growth, losing those High Templar, really hurt HuK here at the end of the game. You know, this game was fairly back and forth, and they were relatively even in terms of resources lost. And no one really got any expansion sniped either. This engagement here, I think, actually lost the game for HuK. You guys might think there's another point in the game. I probably am just not thinking about it right now, but that's okay. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, sit tight because we will be moving on to game 2 in just a moment. As always, if you like the content, please subscribe. Thank you for watching, and keep owning.